Hi everybody, I'm here at the fortress of Sacsayhuaman. We are right above Cusco City at an elevation of approximately 3,700 meters, about 12,140 feet above sea level. This place is an engineering marvel, and I'm going to show you around. I'm going to show you just what makes this place so special. I've been here 2 times, and every time I find something new. So come and explore with me. Let's go.
Sacsayhuaman is much larger than just the walls that you see. It covers roughly 30 square kilometers or 12 square miles.
I heard the echo, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the first thing you'll notice is these massive zigzag walls behind me. So they're constructed from enormous stones, which came from just up the hill behind where I'm standing now, just that way. Some of them weigh over 100 tons, and as you can see, they are meticulously fitted together with no mortar, no binding agent, no cement, nothing. And that is the big question. How did they do it? How? So firstly, before we discuss the construction and everything else, let's talk a little bit about what this place was. It was a fortress and a ceremonial site. As a fortress first, it had a defensive function. There were 3 towers which offered a strategic view in case of an enemy attack. Because we're up on this massive hill, looking down at the city, you have an excellent view of anybody trying to come in. It's an early warning system. Behind me is the largest stone here in this complex. The estimated weight is around 145 tons, and supposedly the rock goes down another meter. That's about 3.3 feet below the ground. So when you ask yourself, how did they move it? This is the biggest reference for that question. How did they move this rock? Because it did not come from here. Just show you. Also, there's 10 angles if you count from corner to corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
To the Inca, the snake, known as Amaro, represented the underworld, u.f.o, symbolizing death, infinite dimensions, and the connection to the world below. It also embodied wisdom, transformation, and renewal due to its ability to shed its skin, symbolizing the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. The llama was central to life, representing wealth, sustenance, and spirituality. Spiritually, llamas were considered sacred, used in rituals and sacrifices to Pachamama or Mother Earth, and the royal white llama was a symbol of the Inca ruler. Thousands of people would gather here for religious and celestial events, such as on October 30th, when the setting sun would shine right through the center of the lintel.
All right, so look at here. You have this cut mark between the 2 stones, but what's really unique is the angle it travels. It goes up, starts to turn, and then, as you'll see right up here, it goes up around maybe 5 degrees, just turns like that. I'll try to back up a little bit so you can see it a little better maybe. How do you do that? It's hard enough to make these other turns. How do you do that? And what looks like an evenly spaced line. I mean, I don't know, it's crazy. So another subject of debate is these scoop marks, these kind of cutouts. You can argue some of the stones cracked and broke over time perhaps, or maybe when the Spanish came in here and they started chiseling away. But sometimes you get stuff like that, and we're going to see some more examples on the other side, and you have to ask yourself, what is that? Why? Why make a perfectly smooth stone here, and then right above it is a great example of scoop marks? That one literally looks like a flat square right there. You can see the kind of squarish shape of it, and then as it pushes in, it kind of goes up like this, right? Like the old sleds of like the 1950s the kids would use with the kind of rounded front. Just look at that. So really, if you want to talk about interesting designs, just look at this. So you have the outer wall, and then as you start to push in, look at all the different angles. This triangular shaped fish head or arrowhead rock, and then you come up here and you have a perfectly, whoops, you have basically a perfectly square rock right there. But then here comes the interesting part. You have an actual rounded rock, a rounded corner. How interesting is that? What is the purpose? We don't do that in modern construction that I know of. Why do that now? Now, this arch behind me on the summer solstice, the light will come in right through the top of the lintel, shine directly in the center. So we clearly know that this was not only a military fortress, that this was in fact also a ceremonial, spiritual, religious site. So, you might be asking yourself, how long did it take to do this, and how? I would say there is a bit of speculation, but we have to try to go by historical context of what we know. They started construction sometime in the mid-1400s, mid-15th century. It lasted for decades, because how else would you build a site of this magnitude? The stones, some of them, I said they came from behind, up there. That's where a lot of them came, and they brought them here. Well, you might be asking yourself, but they had no wheel. We know this for a fact. They had no horse, no heavy pack animals. In fact, what animals did they have that could carry anything? Well, that would be the llama, but the llama can carry maybe 70, 80, 100, 120 pounds. That stone down there is 100 tons, 300 tons. How did they move the stones? So firstly, we know that Cusco was heavily forested and then deforested. And this gives us a clue. To move stones with no heavy pack animals, you would have to cut them from the site of the quarry, get them, push them onto wooden logs, right? Trees that are strong enough to support that weight. You put many of them together and you roll the rock, the stone, all the way to the destination. Now I know it's an oversimplification. That's incredibly difficult. I think we cannot discount human ingenuity and human will. Humans can accomplish anything. We got to space. We went under the sea to the deepest part of the ocean. Could we not have done this? Granted, it was ancient times, but could we not have done it? Should we give the people of the ancient times, the ancient Inca, more credit? I think we should. So there's been a lot of discussion about tunnels that go from here at Sacsayhuaman all the way down to the city, to the Curicancha. And lo and behold, this is new. I haven't seen this. That they're doing archaeological excavations seeking to reveal the secrets of the lost Inca tunnels beneath Cusco. So look, guys, it's true. It's right there. There's the proof. The tunnel is likely underneath that piece of wood. And then so the question is, it goes down, across here, and all the way down there. It's just wild to think, wild. And if you're asking yourself, what could be in those tunnels? Well, there's already theories about that. So when the Spanish invaded and people started to communicate that they were taking gold, silver, riches, the Incas, very carefully and very smart, they hid a lot of the treasures. Thankfully, that's why in the museums we still have some of them today, that they weren't captured by the Spanish, melted down, turned into coins, and sent back to Spain. So what could be in the tunnels, you ask? Well, it's the fabled, rumored treasure of the Incas, the undiscovered gold. We know for a fact that to pay ransom, one of the Inca rulers offered 2 rooms of silver and 1 room of gold, ceiling to floor. And they didn't accept. They didn't think it was real. Could that tunnel prove that it is real? Okay guys, so coming back to the point of construction and the question of how did they do it. There is a big alternative community that thinks they had high-speed, high-precision tools, CNC style machines, diamond cutters, drills that were working at high speeds. Well, I want to show you one specific section where that could be true. Right here, you'll see these striations. They're smooth. If I touch right here, completely smooth. Also, if you look at the groove lines, they're evenly spaced. This one matches the one above it. This one down here looks very similar to the one down below. If you come a little closer and you look here, it's evenly spaced. It's about 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter, and then it like kind of goes over a small bump and it goes down. Smooth, smooth. There's Leica growing on it, moss, but just look at this. This, if there was any evidence of ancient machining that should not have existed, I think this is a very good example of that. And I want to show you one more section over here. You can see the rounded nature of it. And you can see what look like the cup marks, right? The scoop marks almost. And of course down here we have some kind of a seat. Looks like a cutout chair. But like I said, if there's any evidence, it's right here. Look over here. What about this? It's smooth to the touch, look. If you poured water on it, you'd slip and fall. That's how smooth it is. And look over there, there's a small seating area that's probably ceremonial. So here, we have more of a continuation of these, what you could call slides. And here's a really interesting part. You might not see it, but I do. There is actually a rainbow hue right up the center line here and up the center line here. And if I go down here, if I touch right here up the center line that I said was like a rainbow hue, it's perfectly smooth. Just look. Look right here. It's perfectly smooth. If I had, look at this, we'll put a stone and watch this. We'll put a stone and then it just slides right down. Just look at that. This is a really fascinating place we're entering, because if you look at this stone, you will see what looks like it being upside down. Look at the stairs. If you imagine that those are stairs and that's a seating area, this stone looks upside down. In fact, if you look up and you see just how rough all this is, it looks like it was blown up out of the ground, flew in the air, and landed on its head. We'll look here up close. Stair number 1, 2, 3, and 4, with what could be a seating area right there. And it looks like it's literally on its head. I mean, it's just absolutely wild. Well, if this blew up and landed on its head, what caused it to do so? You know, we should go ask our friendly llamas. Maybe they'll tell us. Look at the staircase right there. There's about 9 stairs, small ones, cut out next to 4 big ones. Over here, 5 large ones. They all go nowhere. More stairs over there. It's the strangest rock. It's 15 minutes away from the actual fortress. Over here you got these cutout areas. It's just strange. It's really strange. So this is the backside. And what's really interesting is you have 2 notches on either side of one in the middle, as if 2 large people could sit down with somebody sitting in the middle. It doesn't really make any sense. Alternatively, maybe this was a quarry where they would cut out squarish stones to take back for building purposes of whatever they needed. Truly, I don't know. This has been my second trip here up to Sacsayhuaman, and I love it. And I recommend, if you have a chance, do not skip this place. Come, enjoy, walk around, spend hours here, meditate, do whatever you gotta do. Enjoy, guys. Until next episode, I hope you enjoyed this one. See you later.